You are listening to AVFC Extra, a no-nonsense look at the club we all love. Brought to you by the Claret and Blue podcast.
Hello and welcome to a new episode of AVFC Extra. Bit of a special one today because we weren't actually planning on doing many of these until the new year, just due to the congestion. But after what happened at the London Stadium for Villa against West Ham, Dan, we couldn't not interview a very special guest.
I've always thought if I could speak to a referee about VAR and the state of it, what would I ask? So I managed to dig through my old contact phone book and found Mark Halsey, the Premier League referee that you said he spanned 3 decades as a career as a referee, but that was from 1999 to 2013. So almost 15 years at the top level of English football. He refereed whilst Dion Dublin dropped the nut on Robbie Savage. Always fun to talk about that. And also we asked him his opinion on some of the things that have happened with Aston Villa and VAR in the last 12 months or so, 18 months, starting all the way back to Crystal Palace and that decision with Jack Grealish right up until West Ham on Monday night. It's not all about Aston Villa though, it's more just a conversation about the standard of refereeing, the state of VAR, how we fix it, and we've also answered some viewer questions as well. And we are recording this intro after recording the full podcast, but it was very good, wasn't it? And we're not one to toot our own trumpet, but it's a good episode, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it was brilliant. Mark's really funny. You wouldn't expect him to be a referee, to be fair, because how funny he is. You just think referees go home and give their wife a yellow card for some rubbish, but genuinely, he was really funny. There's parts in this where he's just digging us out, coming back at us. You know, he's got a real winner's personality, and everything he's been through, his health and stuff, and being a referee, hard job. During the time he was refereing, probably not so much now. I still get the abuse and stuff, but you look at the years he was refereing and the games he did, the stuff he had to put up with, and stick goes back and forth. But I think we've come out of this episode. He's an absolute hero, despite some of the things he may have said about Villa. But we're here to be biased and try and laugh him off. But he was an absolute hero, absolute legend. It was a brilliant interview. So really hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, should we crack on and play the VT?
Yeah, we're here dialing in Mark from Spain now. How you doing, Mark?
Oh, seamless, mate. Seamless.
Well, thank you for joining us, Mark. How are you getting on, mate?
It's my pleasure, guys. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm doing okay. Loving me football. We're working well and working in different media outlets, and obviously critiquing refereeing performances. So yeah, I enjoy it. I enjoy what I'm doing.
We're going to go on to some major topics about refereeing later on, but I think first off, Mark, we want to know.
Now there's a surprise.
But first, I think the important matter. We want to know I think we've explained your experience before you've come on, but we want to know how you got into officiating football matches. What spurred you on?
Well, I mean, obviously, I did play the game from a young age. Started out in the junior school. Played my first game in centre midfield and wasn't that very good out on the pitch, and then my school teacher proceeded to put me in goal because no one else wanted to play there, and that's where I stayed. For all my career up to I started refereeing. Played had trials at numerous clubs. I was schoolboy and schoolboy forwards at Tottenham, and went into non-league at Hartford, Cambridge City, St Albans. Welling Garden City, my hometown club, and played many years up to about the age of about 28 when I think I took up the whistle. And it was a good friend of mine who sadly passed away this year. That I played football with on a Sunday morning. He turned poacher, gamekeeper poacher, or poacher gamekeeper, however you say it. Because I played behind him. He was one of the most. When a referee's back was turned, he would give him an elbow in the face, or he'd kick him in the back, up the backside, and he was awful. And he become a referee. He just kept, Mark, why don't you become a referee? Come become a referee. And I said, Russ, you've got absolutely no chance of me being a referee. Sorry, absolutely no chance. But as the sun wore on, he just kept talking to me, come and be a referee, I said, well, what does it entail, Russ? What does it entail? He says, well, you have to do an 8-week course, and then you have an exam at the end of it. I said, well, I'll tell you what, I said, I am not doing an 8-week course. No way. I said, give me the laws of the game, I'll go through the laws of the game, and then I will take the exam at the end of it. I see if that will be okay. They said, yeah, that's fine, no problem. So that's what I done. I read the laws of the game, took a test and become a referee.
As easy as that.
As I say, you've got to be mad to be a goalkeeper, but even madder to be a referee, and that's what I've done. And I look back over my career, and it was the right thing. It was the right thing to do. I just thought to myself, I'll have a go at it. If I'm good, then I will progress. And luckily for me, I was good. Well, I like to think some of you guys might think I weren't that good. But,
we'll get on to that.
Yeah.
Want to go on about the Henry goal against Arsenal? There's a bit of part later on, but no, I mean, listen, I loved every minute of it, and I took its toll in some respects and in your private life and everything else. But listen, I really enjoyed my time, and I just said to myself, if I progress, then I'll carry on. If I don't progress, then I'll most probably go into whether it be coaching or managing at sort of a lower league level, because my brother is a manager at Ware Football Club. They play in the Isthmian League.
I wanted to ask your thoughts on the kind of the prominence that referees have got these days. It seems that we seem to be talking about referees more and more, and that they're in the limelight. I feel like there should be comparisons to what I do, video editing. You don't notice a good video edit because it shouldn't be brought to the attention. Do you think that's a good refereeing performance if we're not talking about them?
Yeah, I mean, it's very unfortunate, Dave. I mean, we just seem to be constantly talking about, referees' performances and VAR. And VAR was supposed to take this away. But obviously we'll get onto that, later on. For me, it was all about, as a referee, managing the game, managing the players, engaging with the players, laughing with the players, having a joke with the players. And, when you had to stamp your authority on a game, you done it, and players respected you for that. I mean, I got on well with lots of players. And listen, we had arguments on the field of play. We had set twos, we had words, shop floor language, as you say. So you can't obviously say what was said on this show, but and that's what it's all about. It's about getting close and getting to know and being aware of what's going on around you. The little players that have had little digs at each other before, and just an awareness of what's going on around you. You're looking all the time, even though the ball's in play, you do get that time to look around and see what's going on, and you do hear what players are saying to each other. And it's about just nipping little things in the bud and getting the respect of the players. I mean, referees walk onto the field of play today, and they just think, sometimes some of them are a bit arrogant about things, and a little bit, for my liking, they're too aggressive with the players. There's no need to be aggressive nature with the players. And I always used to say, please and thank you, speak to them. And I just find it today you can have that relationship with them on the field. But as I said, you walk onto that field of play and you think that you've got you should command respect straight away. It doesn't. You have to earn that respect. You've got to earn that respect with the players, and that comes with your awareness of what's going on, picking things up, letting players know you're seeing things, your accuracy in your decision making, and just picking up the little niggles that are going on through in the game, and letting people know you're seeing things and you'll deal with it. So I think and the accuracy of your decision making, and I think that's what gets you the respect from the players. So it's listen, it's not easy. It's not easy, but it's the way you conduct yourself on the field of play. The moment you walk into that stadium, into that dressing room, it's the way you conduct yourself, and it don't cost you anything to be nice and polite and smile and speak with the guys before the game. Not so much after the game. If they want to come and speak to you after the game, it's normally when they're upset with your performance and they're kicking the dressing room door down. No, listen. I mean, I loved every minute of it, and I always used to think I got on well with most of the players.
What do you make of VAR then, Mark? Because I know this came in after your time in the professional game, but I think before it came in, we were all assuming it would be a massive help to referees, but it seems like there's a lot of conflicts going on, and not a lot of people in general on both sides of the argument are not very happy about its execution. Do you wish it was around when you were reffing? Well,
for me, I think VAR was a good introduction into football. I still do. I mean, there's a lot of players and pundits want rid of it now, but it's a multi-million-pound business now, and it's all about getting the big key decisions correct. And yes, I know we have got problems at present, but I believe implemented correctly, it should work. No. It's the leadership, the direction, the management of the guys, the active guys, and the guys in the VAR bunker. And remember, VAR, the IFAB protocol, VAR is solely there for a clear and obvious error or a serious incident missed. Okay, that is what it's there for. Not for what I think. What I've been seeing so far this season. I just sit there and I think, why? I'm going to bring it in now. Trezeguet and Solly March, Villa Brighton. Okay.
Yeah.
Now Michael Oliver gives a penalty, real time, straight away. I'm watching it because I have to watch it for different media outlets. Penalty. Okay. See the replay for me. First replay. So still a penalty. People say, Solly March has got the ball. He hasn't made a chance. He hasn't got the ball. Trezeguet tries to flick the ball over him and it comes on his shin. So he's not making no challenge. He's come closing down. Trezeguet's flicked it over and he's still caught it. Anywhere else on the field to play, it's a foul. So it happened in the penalty area. It's a foul and a penalty. Is that a clear and obvious error by the match referee? When you watch that game and you watch the replay, is that a clear and obvious error? No. So why has VAR got involved in that incident? It shouldn't even got involved in it. As soon as the referee goes over to that monitor, he's under pressure because I think they're being told in there, you've got that wrong. It's most probably a good tackle. He's won the ball. So straight away, he's under pressure. I'd like to see a referee be mentally tough, mentally strong, and say, no, do you know what? I'm sticking with my original decision. Going off the villains trail, but I'm going to go to one of your neighbours, the Albion, a couple of weeks ago, down at Old Trafford, or up at Old Trafford, I should say. Gallagher goes down under a challenge from United player. Clear penalty. David Coote, correct. Great position. Same with Michael Oliver against Villains v Brighton. Great position. Straight away gives the penalty. You see the play. I think it's a good decision. It's a penalty. Clearly gets him. And I just don't understand why there was review. Because was that a clear and obvious error by the match referee? No, it wasn't. So why are they getting involved? And that's why we're having all these inconsistencies. We're having all these inconsistencies. On penalties, on handballs. We need to hear the conversation. What they talk? What are they saying? The VAR room and the referee. We need to know. Everybody needs to hear. Nothing to hide. So let everybody hear. Just like we do in cricket and rugby. That's I think we hear it. I think they have it in Australia as well. You can hear. So let us hear Wayne.
We asked the questions on Twitter before you came on. We didn't name who you were, but we said we had an ex-former Premier League referee on. What would you ask a referee if you could? So we're going to intersperse a few throughout this, and we'll come to some more at the end. First person said, I've listened to ex-referees on Sky and other TV channels before. They weirdly always seem to back the decision that was given, no matter how ludicrous it looks. Why can't they ever admit when decisions are wrong?
Well, listen, you're absolutely spot on. I mean, as much as I respect Dermot Gallagher, we've worked together for many years, and referring to Sky Sports Breath Watch, and I must admit, I respect him 100%, but I don't have to agree with him. And
exactly.
I have to say, if you read my columns in the Sun newspaper, then I don't agree with what Dermot says. You got to realise as well, Dermot is also working for the PGL. So yes, I think he has to be fair to him. He's on difficult ground. He's got to. You need someone in there that's independent, that can go in there and say it as it is, and say it honestly. But be constructive as well when they're analysing the referee's performance.
You've just mentioned the PGMOL there. You said recently in a piece that the training and coaching that referees received is substandard. You said referees need help, and if the PGMOL takes advantage of the retired referees' elite level experience, they will get the help. It feels a bit like Stockley Parker leading the conversation and effectively re-refereeing the game. Is that the main problem with VAR?
I hear a lot of people saying now it's the worst bunch of referees we've had for a long time. And listen, I do agree that the standard is not what it should be at the elite level. I mean, we've got some good referees. Michael Oliver, Martin Atkinson, Anthony Taylor, Mike Deamore. Loathe him. He's very experienced. Is Dino, and we got some good young ones coming through now. I like the look of Andy Madley and Panks and Kavanagh. But I'm one of these. It's like football coaches with players. Good coaches turn average players into good players to excellent players. It's no different with referees, no different whatsoever. And if you look around, you've got some top class referees that are no longer in the game. We had 2 retire at the end of last season, Roger East and Lee Pro, but they're not even being used. You've got like some myself. You got Howard Webb, who's working in America now, good friend of mine. Mark Battenberg now. He was head of the Saudi referees. Now he's head of Greek referees. Why are we not, involved in bringing our talent on and taking them through? We were renowned as the best referees in Europe, and we're tending to lose that tech. Michael Oliver's doing his best to get it back with Anthony Taylor, because obviously they're always refereeing in the Champions League. But I just think we've got a severe lack of coaches that have refereed at the top level, working within the PGMOL. That's the problem I have at the present.
A bit of an awkward one now. We're going to the first Villa topic, and I've already roasted you before we started recording, Mark. So I'm sorry to dig you out again, but man, so I've got to tell a story here, because this was my first game on Sky Sports. We didn't have Sky Sports when I was a kid. So 9 years old, 10 years old, I think, watching Villa against Arsenal. And it's a legendary Arsenal team. I think Bergkamp was in it, and of course Thierry Henry, who belted in a beautiful free kick. But my 10-year-old eyes were really upset, and I was fuming, chucking pillows across the room, because it seemed to be taken before a whistle was blown. And the manager at the time, I think David O'Leary, he complained about that. But I think, to be fair, what was your take at the time?
Is it you? Was it you that's every time I was fourth official behind the manager's box shouting abuse at me?
I do sit behind the dugout, but it's not me. I swear.
At that moment in time, we used to say to the players in and around the box, do you want 10 yards? Do you want a quick free kick? And it's down to the defenders and the goalkeeper to be ready. Sure, David O'Leary was on the phone to my boss Keith Hackett after that game, and we spoke about it at our next meeting, and we decided that any free kicks in and around the box, then we wouldn't allow quick free kicks. So on a ceremonial free kick, we would not allow a quick free kick. We'd get the ball back, 10 yards, 9.15 metres, and then make sure the goalkeeper was ready, and then away we go. And that was, but up till then, that's what we used to do. We used to do that. So after that game, it changed after that game. So sorry about that. So.
I'll take it on the chin and all.
Just going back to the manager's comments, or even the players, have they ever said anything after a game that's affected you in a way that you've been wary in your next game and thought, oh, I don't want to make another mistake? Or next time you go and referee Villa, are you thinking, oh, David O'Leary might have a go at me here? Does that have a lasting effect or not?
Yeah, we're human, and we do make mistakes. The game's so quick today, and listen, managers have their say. I've had words with managers that you haven't seen going down the tunnel that people don't see, and we've had words together. It does hurt when you do make a major error. It does hurt you. You're just sick in the stomach, and you don't like eating, and you play it back through your mind. How do you make that mistake? You look at the DVD, you go away, and was I lethargic? Was I not up with play? Did I not was not anticipating? It was not moving in right there, and then you just got to, you make a mistake, you learn from it, and you have to park it, and you move on. And the best referees, that's what they've done. Yeah, listen, you managers into your head, but as I say, you've got to be mentally tough and mentally strong and get on with it. You make a mistake, you've got to forget about it. Especially if you do it in the first 10, 15 minutes, because the players let you know, or if you walk off at half time, you generally get told that. Right, made a mistake there, Mark. By the floor manager from the TV company. And it's very difficult. You got to forget that, put it to one side, and carry on with the game.
I mean, you must have a lot of memories that stick out about refereeing games. We've already brought one up with Henry, but I think another Villa one that sticks out, of course, is that second City derby, famous for all the wrong reasons. Robbie Savage, Dion Dublin, Tell us more.
What a game that was. I mean, West Midlands derby. It was a huge game, wasn't it? A full house at Villa. And I think Graham Taylor was the manager on that one. Graham Taylor and Steve Bruce. Listen, it started off at 100 mile an hour. The challenges going in, but listen, it was. It was just one of the things. I think everyone was applauding Dion for what he done. But obviously, I was a player I was a referee for aging players, not showing too many yellow and red cards because I'd like to think I keep 22 players on the pitch. But that incident, you just cannot manage. And when Dion sort of headbutted Robbie, I had nowhere else to go. And I still think Dion's not forgiven me to this day because I think he's mentioned me on Holmes and a Hammer.
Love that. So next up, I want to run through some clips. We're not going to have to show them on the podcast for obviously copyright reasons. We don't own the footage, but we can show them to you privately and then ask you questions about them afterwards. The first one was August 2019, where Villa were scrapping for every point at the start of a Premier League season, and I can't remember who the referee was. Oh, of course I can. Kevin Friend. How could I forget? Rules that Jack Grealish dived and we don't score a late equaliser.
Yeah, listen, it's difficult. Would have been interesting if I think VAR was there, wasn't it? I mean, when I saw that, I thought it was a penalty. I thought he's cool. Grealish. Wonderful talent, wonderful player. I mean, just going back to watching him the other night. Where was it?
West Ham.
I think sometimes, listen, he's a wonderful player, but the manner he goes down, sometimes, you think he's sort of trying to simulation. I just think if he looked at sometimes the way the manner he goes down, if he just changed that a little bit, I think he'd perhaps get a lot more decisions go his way.
But do you think Jack has to go down in that way because he's fouled so often? If he did try and stay on his feet more, he wouldn't get the free kicks he does, and that's almost that he's not being treated fairly by a referee.
Yeah, I think so. Personally, I think he got the player cautioned on Monday night. Was there any contact? Was it a minimal contact? Did he need to go down in that manner? Had he not gone
I agree
down,
with that.
I believe it. I believe he most probably would have just got the free kick and nothing else, and no caution for the West Ham player. I know it's difficult. I know it's hard for players, but that I just think if he could just stay on his feet a bit more, he perhaps will get a few more decisions. It's about talking to them and letting them know. I mean, I remember. Listen, I remember going refereeing a game at Villa. It was against Southampton, and it was 0-0. Jay Rodriguez went down in the box. From my position, it looks a clear penalty. Give a penalty. No one said anything. Everyone else thought it was a penalty. Okay, everyone. So I give a penalty. Go walking off at half time. Nothing said. Coming out at half time for the second half. All the Villa players saying he's dived. We've not touched him. I said, not touched him. I said, it looks a clear penalty to me. No one moaned to me in the first half. I said, no, I've seen it now from a different angle. Well, hang on a minute. I don't get those angles. And of course, Paul Lambert was going ballistic at me, after the game because they lost 1-0 on that penalty, banging on my door, kicking my door down. Then we had this discussion. We agreed to disagree, and it went away. But when I saw it on later on Match of the Day, because obviously you want to watch it, you want to see it, and the pundits watched it and they said in real time, first of all, they thought it was a clear penalty, but then when they saw it from a different angle from behind the goal, he was anticipating the contact and went down. So I remember refereeing Jay Rodriguez about 3 weeks later at Swansea, and we were in the tunnel, and I went up to him. I went, "Hey, you let me down big time, didn't you, down at Villa a few weeks ago? Hey, you let me down going down like that." I said, "You go down like that today, and I will have you today. I'll tell you now, I will have you today. Don't you dare go down in that manner again today." And he went, Mark, honestly, I didn't mean to. It was like, I thought I was expecting the contact. Yeah, well, it made me look a right fool, didn't you?
We got an absolute doozy for you now, Mark. We got a really, really, really good one. This is the goal, I guess. If you think the match ends in the 45th minute, this is the goal that kept Villa up. Well, the quote-unquote goal. It's a phantom goal during Villa versus Sheffield United, where Oyan Neeland catches the ball. He catches a cross, kind of falls over his line, but it's covered by so many bodies. This is the explanation that it didn't pick up on Hawkeye.
Technology is never thought it would foul, but it has on this situation. But for me, the assistant referee has got to see that. He has to see that. And he should be alerting Michael Oliver to that it's gone over. Obviously, it's never happened before, so they're thinking perhaps it hasn't gone in because of the watches. As soon as it goes in, the watch flashes a goal, and they get it in their ear that it's a goal. But so there must have been something that the players' reaction when they've all gone away, they've all run away. You can clearly see. But I know it's it's the goal line technology and Hawaii, but on that situation, surely VAR's a backup, and they're watching that. They know that's a goal straight away, and they should be telling Michael in his ear that, listen, that's a goal. It's a goal. It's a goal, because you can see straight. We saw straight away watching it on the replays. But listen, it's just one of those things, and I just thought, blame Hawkeye, but I think VAR's got to take responsibility for that as well.
Interestingly, this goes back to that Thierry Henry and Graham Taylor thing, because that argument back then was the referee has far too much power. And now you look at that and you're like, the referee's got no power. He was almost powerless in that situation because the technology relies on it didn't work.
It's difficult. I mean, when the watch is saying no goal and the assistant's not said anything, and it is difficult. You're thinking, well, it's not telling me it's a goal. It's not telling me. So your mind's working. And VAR could have rectified that error, that Hawkeye error, in my opinion.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it, about VAR? If it's supposed to be clear and obvious, you look at that Sheffield United ghost goal, and as a Villa fan, I look at that and go, yes, of course we got away with one. Of course that was a goal. VAR should step in there and say that was a clear and obvious error, goal to Sheffield United. On the other hand, Monday night, Villa ruled out what I think is yes, he's offside, Ollie Watkins, by his shirt sleeve, whatever, but the margins are so fine, that wasn't a clear and obvious error. But VAR does get involved in that circumstance, and that's what I think fans don't like, that inconsistency between decisions.
With offside, it's a matter of fact. It took 2.5 minutes to to put those lines where they are or where they want them to be. You can come to any decision you want if you're taking 2.5-3 minutes. You can make it look as offside as you want. In those situations, when it takes that long, for me, it's a goal. If you can't, I was watching you watch the games. I was watching Brighton Liverpool on Saturday. The Mane offside. As soon as you saw the replay, you saw he was just offside. Okay, so with the one with Watkins on Monday, you couldn't tell. Offside is a matter of fact, but on those situations where it takes that long, for me, they're goals. And to be fair, they've changed the law. They've changed the law. Only the part of the body that you can score with. You can be offside. So your arm, you can't be offside, but it hits your armpit, you can be offside. Well, that is absolutely nonsense. Nonsense. I mean, all my years of football, I've never seen a goal scored with an armpit. Have you?
Nope.
It's nonsense. It needs changing. You can't have that. If you cannot tell first or second replay he's offside, I think everybody would accept that. I think every player, manager in the game would accept that. If he's a yard or he's a 2 feet offside, you see it straight away. You see it straight away.
The point with VAR, though, is that the video footage can't identify the precise millisecond where the ball is struck. If you're thinking about frames per second and stuff like that from a video point of view, how fast a ball is kicked could be a blur on a screen. So where do you pause it to say where the ball was kicked anyway? 3D lines on a 2D image, the technology seems to be so advanced, but it doesn't work correctly.
Well, we know that the technology is not 100%. So we need, when the actual ball's kicked to when that movement's made, and as we saw, as we saw on Monday, has that player just moved just as the ball kicked, or just after, or just before? I mean, it's not telling us that. But one thing we do know is that the defence then put Watkins just armpit offside. So before VAR, we always used to give the benefit of the doubt to the attackers, and that's just gone now with VAR and offside being factual. We're in the entertainment business, and we're seeing far too many goals chalked out when they shouldn't be on those situations.
James, you're on mute this time, James.
Sorry, I was trying to make the best audio possible.
You guys are red card because I'm sure you lot. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're doing.
Oh, there's a song I could sing back, but it's too explicit. The debate about VAR, it seems to be, is it being used by PGMOL to mask the fact that refereeing standards have descended further than they ever have? I mean, in the course of this conversation, we went from kind of these, referees that we look back as almost like legendary now, like they're figures of the game that have, had such an impact and are, no longer involved in the match day action. And now we have the technology coming in. Is it just too easy of an excuse, you think, to just use VAR as a massive mask over it all?
If I was refereeing today, I would want to get those big key match decisions correct. You wouldn't want to be recommending for review all the time. So I think the referees, deep down, would want to get those big decisions right. But I think we've seen it. I think we see it with the assistants where they're not going to come in and help the referee on those big decisions because they know they've got the backup of VAR. They're not going to guess. They're not going to guess. If you're guessing, then 9 times out of 10 you're going to get it wrong. So I'd rather not guess and be wrong than guess than get it wrong. If you're not sure, you don't give it. End of, and that's how I went through my career. Through my career, if I wasn't sure, then I wouldn't give it. If I wasn't 110% with a penalty incident, I wouldn't give it.
I've got one final question to end on, Mark, and we've really enjoyed having you on the podcast this afternoon. It's been a really enjoyable chat. My final question is: are you glad that you're retired and no longer a Premier League referee?
Yeah, listen. I had a great career. I think I could have carried on for possibly. Well, I mean, a lot of people stay involved because of the money. There's a few factors that why I sort of stopped refereeing, and one was my body gave up. I think I've been through battling cancer 3 years previous before I retired, and I think it took its toll on me with chemotherapy and radiotherapy, and I think that. My body just 3 years on, it just couldn't take the training every day, the rigmarole of getting up, going training, working hard, running, keeping fit, and keep myself in shape to run up and down the football pitch. And I think it was just telling me, Mark, it's your body can't take anymore. It's had enough. And I think the second half of the 2012-13 season sort of brought it home to me that I think that I was in the dressing room times thinking I don't really want to go out in the second half. I just don't want to go out anymore. I don't want to go out and referee this second half. And I think that was then my body telling me, Mark, now's the time to walk away. You've had a great career. I've really enjoyed my career. Had some great moments, some great memories, made some great friends, and people say, "Oh, Mark, you're a long time retired," but I was told if you go on too long, and then people say, Mark Halsey, he was a good referee, but he just went on, went on too long, and his credibility went down, or his credibility went out the window. So yes, I'd love to be involved in coaching and helping the referees at the top. I think I've got a lot to offer. I think it's about managing the guys. I think it's no different to managing players. There are some players that need a little bit of loving. There's some players that need to kick up the backside, and referees no different. It's about knowing the guys you can kick up the backside, and it's knowing the players that needed a cuddle and a bit of loving. And I think if we showed a lot of our players or a lot of our referees a bit of loving, like I think if I was showed towards the end of my career, who knows, I may have stayed on for another season or two. But I didn't get that loving, and obviously my body sort of was starting to pack up. And but no, listen, I had a great career and thoroughly enjoyed it. And people still stop and speak to me and ask me about about my career and different things that went on in my career. So yeah, listen, as I say, now I'm enjoying what I'm doing lots of podcasts, a lot of things, talking to you guys, although you don't know what I'm doing. But no, it's as I say, I do a lot of work with in the media now, and I enjoy it, to be fair.
Perfect, Mark. Thank you so much for spending your afternoon with us and talking us through all these refereeing decisions, and of course having a laugh about the Villa. We'll have to get you on again, to dig you out about Thierry Henry and just make you go through it all again. But thank you so much.
I've enjoyed talking to you guys, and all you villains out there. Stay safe and have a merry Christmas, and remember, it doesn't cost you anything to be polite and smile and be friendly to one another.
Likewise, a lovely message to end the podcast on. Like James says, maybe we'll get you on if there's another contentious VAR decision for Aston Villa, which undoubtedly there will be. So thank you very much for your time, Mark. Thanks everyone for tuning in and listening, and we'll see you again in a few days' time with another brand new episode. Thank you for listening to AVFC Extra, an additional dose of Aston Villa content for you, brought to you by the Claret and Blue podcast team. If you enjoyed the episode, please do get in touch with us, get involved in the comment sections, tweet us at Claret Blue Pod, or leave us a review on iTunes. We really do appreciate it. We'll catch you again very soon with some more content. Until then, up the Villa.